You're watching NBA Today.
It's Myles Turner Day in Indy as the Bucks big man returns to Gainbridge Fieldhouse for the first time as a visiting player. Turner's free agency was the latest turn in what's becoming a chippy rivalry between the Bucks and Pacers. This started back in December of 23 when Giannis set a Bucks franchise record, scoring 64, leading to an incident over the game ball. Pacers wanted to give it to Oscar Schwebe for his first point. Giannis didn't appreciate that. Then last March, trailing by 3 in the final seconds, the Pacers ran a creative play leading to Tyrese Halliburton's 4-point play that won the game in Giannis's face. Then in April, this past April, the Pacers knocked out the Bucks for the second straight year. Halliburton landed the final blow, driving past Giannis for the game winner. And then Hallie's dad got into it with Giannis.
Oh my gosh.
And then in the offseason, the Bucks were able to steal Myles Turner away from the Pacers. He spoke at shoot-around about his negotiations with Indy during the offseason.
A little bit of a rug pull. I think it's the best way to describe it. It's a little bit of a rug pull for me personally. I feel like for the most part, people have been pretty upfront where we're going to be. People saw us, we don't got to rehash on stuff. But I'll say it was a rug pull. It's the best way to describe it. I feel like let's talk about value. Lower your value in a sense, and I feel like the front office and the ownership value being Milwaukee, more the front office and ownership value being here in Indiana. So again, I wasn't a shot at the fans. I see how fans took that personally. Just how fresh you were off such a great run and whatnot. But again, obviously the running the camera. By no means anything I said it ain't to do with the fans or the city, man. I said it's strictly a business, business decision for me personally.
All right, time for our NBA reporter Jamal Collier joining us from Gainbridge Fieldhouse before this particular matchup. It might be spicy in Naptown tonight as Myles Turner is set to face his former team here, Jamal. So how does Turner switching teams add to this Bucks-Pacers rivalry?
Yeah, it's certainly a new dynamic and one that Myles is really trying to figure out how to walk the line between embracing his new home in Milwaukee and trying to find a way not to slight Pacers fans. And he's gotten himself into a couple of awkward situations over the past couple of months, starting out at Media Day when he made a comment about going where you're celebrated. And a lot of Indiana fans took issue with that he was sort of talking ill of 10 years and a decade that he spent with the Pacers, so much so that he had to follow up on social media with a clarifying post about that. He got into the exact same situation last week. He was on Thanasis Antetokounmpo's podcast, and a clip went viral where he appeared to criticize Tyrese Halliburton. And again, Myles had to go on social, post the full context of that clip, and really, he's been trying to sort of walk this line throughout these past couple of months. I spoke to him last week in advance of his return here, and he wanted to make it clear that he's got smoke for ownership, for the front office, the people he said really he felt like gave up on him, and not Indiana Pacers fans. It's a place that he still loves, he still enjoys, and wants to be a part of the community, but there's some bad feelings for sure on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, that comment, rug pull, as we heard at the beginning, I mean, that's an implication that the front office or the organization is the issue here, not the fans. So do the Pacers have anything planned, I guess, for Myles' return?
Well, look, this is a guy who's played a decade here. When they won the Eastern Conference Finals against the Knicks on this home floor, he gave the heartfelt speech to the crowd. So there will be a tribute video for Myles highlighting that time, highlighting his impact in the community. But he said it. He's not sure exactly how he's going to be received, given the way these past couple of months have gone. He still has a lot of love for it here, and his teammates and the people here has tried to make that very, very clear that he really felt like he had no choice at the end of the day because of the offer that the Milwaukee Bucks put in front of him that really blew Indiana's out of the water. All
right, Jamal, great stuff, man. Thank you so much. All right, for more on Myles Turner's exit from the Indiana Pacers, all right, check out Jamal's piece on ESPN.com. But now, back to our panel here. So Myles Turner was a franchise cornerstone for this team, all right? But the Pacers, now he's on the other side of the rivalry. Ramona, let's start with you. What do you think of just kind of everything that's going on here with Myles?
Well, I mean, I think the Indy crowd's going to give him an applause. They might boo a little bit during the game, but I think they understood what happened there. And I remember reporting on this over the summer. It felt like the fans were disappointed in the organization for letting him go. They had their reasons, and I do think some of it is because Halliburton was out, but it's also a long-term view of who they had coming up in the pipeline. But I will say this. I talked to Doc Rivers last week, and he said, you don't know a player until you coach him. And he has been so impressed with Myles Turner's leadership since he's been with the Milwaukee Bucks. Like, he knew he was a good player, but the leadership in that locker room for a veteran to come in to a new locker room, to a place where Giannis is clearly the head of that team, and have that effect is really saying something.
Okay, now let's stay here in the East because the Pacers are off to a 1-5 start, while the Bucks are certainly playing pretty well at 4-2 at the moment. Bobby, who's the biggest surprise in the East for you?
I think it's Chicago, just based on a lot of us didn't have any expectations for his team, and certainly there's Kobe White has not played a game yet. You look at what they've been able to do. They lost Sunday in New York, but what they've been able to do with their bench, third most among teams in points per game. Josh Giddey has played at an all-star level to start the season here. But for me, it's Chicago. I had a scout said to me last night at the Laker game that all they have to do is go 500 the rest of the way, and they'll probably make the top 6 in the Eastern Conference.
Oh, that's crazy.
And we're only 6 games in here. But Chicago, for me, I like what they've been able to do so far.
Zealous is playing really well, man.
He really has. And the interesting thing is they don't have there's no superstar. Can you do it by like the Toronto way that did it in 2000? And of course, they had Kawhi there, but can you do it by Dirk in Dallas? Can you do that type approach there?
All right, what's your biggest surprise?
I think I said the Pistons.
Earlier, you did.
I did say the Pistons.
I'm with you, too.
I'm going to repeat the Pistons. Cade Cunningham has been sensational. I'm really curious to how they take it to the next level, right? They have the talent. They got over the hump. They got to the playoffs. They were just so bad, and now they're winning games.
For as much grief as we have given the Sixers over the past couple of seasons, and with good reason, obviously, but we got to give them their flowers because nobody saw this start coming. Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe have been unbelievable in the backcourt. Joel Embiid is not even playing that much, but when he is on the court, he's been effective. I think you got to give them a lot of credit for the way they started the season.
Yeah, Tyrese Maxey, along with Luka and Austin, balling out 30-9.
VJ Edgecombe, he's creeping up on Cooper Flagg in those rookie year.
He's got some Dwayne Wade vibes. Yeah.
Indianapolis.